Hey everybody, Mrs. Pelk here. Hope you guys are doing well. Welcome to another day of Today in Poetry. I actually have a video that I'm going to share with you of another teacher. It's a teacher I don't even know, but another teacher who's teaching a whole lesson on what you're going to be learning about today. The lesson was so good, I didn't want to mess with it, so I'm sharing it with you today. Today you're going to talk about something called line breaks and white space. And it's really how a poet makes a poem look like a poem. Now your poems are sounding like poems, and now it's time to make them look like poems as well. So you're going to watch her video. I'm going to put a couple of examples of poems that I thought had really good line breaks and white space, just so you can see them. I'll put them at the end of the video. And then today you're going to take a look at your Google Doc to find out what you're doing today, but I'll give you a little bit of a hint. You're going to watch just a really quick little, it's almost like a slideshow. You can listen to it also, but it's almost like a slideshow that asks you questions about a particular poem and its line breaks and white space, and it asks you a few questions about that. And then I want you to keep getting ready for Friday. So Friday is your day to share the best of your poems. Now you may not have written it yet, or you may have written it the very first day, but you're going to take a look at the poems that you have done, and I want you to pick one or two that you want to share with your teacher, and you can share it in a couple of different ways. You can go on Flipgrid and read the poem to us and actually show us as well. You can go on Flipgrid and just show a picture of your poem so we can read it, or mom and dad can email a picture of your poem to us, and that's fine too. So whichever way you are comfortable with is just fine. I'll write something up for you on Thursday so you know all the directions you need, but really, what are you doing other than sharing your best of the best poems with us? And we can't wait to see them. So start digging through and see which one or ones you want to pick. I would say either one or two, no more than two. And then today, what you're also going to do is you're going to take that idea of line breaks and white space, and you might go back into a poem that you've already done and edit it and revise it and kind of like move things around a little bit so it not only sounds like a poem but looks like a poem as well. So I hope you guys have fun with it. We can't wait to see the poetry that you've done on Friday, and I think that's it. So go on to the video and then take a look at some of the examples that I have for you, and then go on to your Google Doc and have a great day. Talk to you soon.
Hi writers, so today we're going to talk about making a poem look like a poem. Writers do this by using line breaks and white space. I crafted a poem just to use in this lesson. So I'm going to read it, and then I'd like for you to talk a little bit about what you think a line break is and white space is. Line breaks and white space. Poets chop, chop, chop their lines with line breaks and make meaning with white space. All right, so if you would turn and talk with somebody next to you, what do you think is a line break and what do you think is white space? All right, so what you probably said was a line break is where the line breaks, where we stop writing on one line and go to the next. This is called a line break. You can see I use several in my poem. Right away, the first 3 lines, 4 words and 3 lines, because I used line breaks. This is one way that poets make their poems sound like they want their readers to read their poems. So there's a slight pause at the end of each line break. So it sounds like this. Poets chop, chop, chop. The other thing that you talked about is white space. Now, white space is the empty space in a poem. There are lots of different places that I used white space in this poem. You may have noticed that there's an extra line here and extra white space here. I also used some white space between my letters of the words white space, and again, some white space between the lines. I did this because I really wanted the white space to take up a lot of space in my poem, because that's really what white space does. This is also defined as white space, where I moved my lines over a little bit.
All right, so I'd like to show you Hank's poem, Gaga Ball. It says, get in the ring, Gaga Ball, Gaga Ball, Gaga Ball. Get out of the way of the ball. Move! All right, so Hank was really creative with his line breaks and white space in his poem, Gaga Ball. You can see the way that he arranged the words there at the beginning. The first line is actually arranged in a circle because he wanted to give it the feel of a Gaga Ball pit. Those 3 repeating lines in the center, he uses both line breaks and white space to set them apart. And then he has the line, get out of the. And he was telling me that he put each of those words on their own line like that with the white space between them in order to make it feel like people, the people that were in the Gaga Ball pit. And then that last line, second to last line is way of the ball. So it reads, get out of the way of the ball. And the words way of the ball, he put in a circle to make it feel like a ball. And then he changed his font. He made it bigger and put it on a line of its own, that last line, move, as the ending of his poem. You can try this too. Poets get creative with line breaks and white space.
Today, during writing workshop, just like Hank, you can use some line breaks and white space to make your poem look like a poem. Go ahead and try to do some creative thinking like Hank did in his poem to really pack a punch with what your poem means. Happy writing, everyone!